We're at like 36% of dentistry is corporate. It's really not that big. It's just it looks more apparent because
They're
there's
more well
like
known.
10.
They have the deep pockets to blast their presence and to be well known.
Well,
Thanks,
like, I
man.
know you don't live in Percival. How many corporate offices are in that town? Two?
Two
Right?
corporate dentistry offices. Yeah.
Yeah, if you talk to someone in like Richmond, there's like 20. It's not that like Rick Cavini and all these guys don't want to be out there. It's just if you can only plant, imagine like it's like the army, right? You can only plant like so many things across the country. Their odds are better with numbers because they're going to fuck up half those people's mouths. They don't want you to notice. So they have to hide. Corporate has to hide in plain sight. It's like reverse psychology. They have to in all the big areas. They need someone looking at their phone that's not really paying attention, like to just walk in there and get work.
Yes.
Get their teeth drilled to bits.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Dental Dummies Podcast. I am your host, tooth moving expert extraordinaire, Dr. Minh Nguyen, orthodontist in Purcellville, Virginia. And y'all know my co-host?
Joe DiMarco, tired and depressed in New Jersey. Is that, yeah. And I don't move teeth. I move money!
Oh my god.
I used a little bit of energy I had left on that one, man.
That was it.
We can't do another take either.
That was it. Yes. So last episode we talked about IT needs for your office. Unless you're running an office from like the 1940s, you're going to need computers. You're going to have computer problems of some sort. You want to have a really, really good team behind you to set it up right. It is easiest with a startup. And if you do have to renovate things, usually the biggest problems are usually actually the IT, where it was like a do-it-yourself model, and it's just very expensive to swap out. And I'll tell you what, my internet went down, so it wasn't my office's setup fault. It was this large company where they're the only internet provider in this town, and it all shut down for the whole town, and like nothing was working. All of it just shut down for about like an hour. So IT is very, very important. I lived through it for about an hour, and everything is good now. What do you say, Joe?
With IT, oh, it's everything you need. You need to be connected to the internet, and Legend's the only group we know that does it right. So it's better to, if your internet's fucked with them, then it was going to be fucked anyway. That's how I look at it.
Because when that thing went down, I knew it wasn't Legend's fault. That's for sure.
It wasn't Legend's fault. If it was, they'd probably fix it in 10 minutes. So, it's just good to have reliable people in a network that can do stuff for you. And something we're going to go through today that like kind of stays on the topic of like having the right network is like knowing, like a lot more people have been buying practices this year. We've been known to be a more startup heavy cluster of people. Like probably like 70% of our new owners are startups since COVID. And I think it's because they up the limits and more people are excited to do new things. And, it's just a new trend in dentistry. But this year, the trend's been going towards acquisitions. And, people have been asking me, like, what's the perfect valuation? How do I know if an office is worth anything or if I'm wasting my time? And I normally text people this little cheat sheet, which I sent them in. Can you see it, actually? I'm going to see if I have it memorized. It's last 3 years of collections, production by provider reports, and what else in there? What else did I normally have?
Profit and loss statements.
Oh yeah, the P&L of the most recent year. What else? What else in there?
Profit loss detail with transactions.
Yeah, and then your transactions. So like basically what I do is I take that info, and a good rule of thumb to find out what you're probably gonna pay is 75 to 80% of the last 3 years of collections averaged together. If an office was doing $1 million for 3 years in a row, which isn't ever going to happen, like it's not going to be a flat $1 million 3 years in a row, but for math's sake in my brain, add them all together. So you get 3 million divided by three, you hit a million, and times it by 0.75 of the low end. So you know you're going to pay anywhere from 750 to 800,000 for that office. That's the most a bank will typically let you get, because when you get 850, they're going to give you up to 150 in working capital, which is literally what the office is generating a year, because they're going to try to feed off of you for 10, 12, 15 years. So that's why like it's important to have someone like, now that's if like all the math was perfect, there were no surprises. Like that's why we ask for the transactions to see what in the transactions are fraudulent. Min's had some scary employers that like write off things that, you know, you're not supposed to, or do things that you're not supposed to. And if you buy that office, you're inheriting all those problems. So like you can actually get someone to discount their office. I had someone buying an office for 60% of the value. So they were gonna pay like 1.5 million, and they're gonna pay about 800,000 because all their accounting was messed up. So because of the way they were writing it off, and like we had to set up a whole new LLC, and we're taking on all this liability, which you're allowed to take on liability, but they did a stock sale. So like you're literally buying that LLC. So like let's say I was buying Dr. Min's LLC and he was doing sketchy stuff. I would become the owner of all of Dr. Min's problems. Normally, it's my new LLC, fresh start, fresh person. Like, you can't come at me for the shitty work that that doctor did before. When you do a stock sale, you can. So, like, understanding those different types of things and, like, knowing that, like, oh, I'm taking on more liability. Like, this guy bought double the malpractice insurance. Like, it's fine. It's just, you got to be able to absorb the mistakes of the predecessor. Any thoughts on that, man? Remember when you were gonna buy a big office and I killed your dreams?
Hey, that doctor, he's gonna have the cleanest books in the world. Like, you know, it was all dialed up, really really low overhead and everything. But yes, I remember.
Wasn't it Doctor Note Reel? Is that who it was?
Uh-uh.
I just said you don't get it. It's not real. I just
Oh
said Doctor Note Reel.
no, I didn't get that. It's late.
But I know
But
we're,
anyways,
we're we're gonna have more energy in the future. I promise, guys. That's why I
no,
picked a
just
semi boring topic that people have been asking about, because we want to give some knowledge and also
yeah.
use
So
this to broaden your horizons.
So I think that doctors have heard a lot about like 3 years tax returns, and they'll pay, let's say, 75, 80% of the average of the last 3 years collection. They hear that over and over. Then you elaborated on problems that you're buying into these problems. What are two major problem red flags, or one red flag problem and one problem that could be, and here's how you mitigate it to still move forward if this is the right practice for you?
Like one problem that's a problem that would make it unbuyable. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Like if they already have a lien on the office. So like let's say you're buying an office and you didn't know that like they have a lien on the building and you're gonna buy the building. They have to pay all that shit off before they sell it to you. What they think is gonna happen is like they'll have a lien on this building and they'll think, oh, like you'll just pay it off, or they pay it off after the sale. No, they have to pay off all the debts before they even sell it to you. So like, if you're buying an office from someone else, they have to pay all those debts like the day of the transaction.
So this means this doctor owns a building. There's still a loan that they took out,
A
that they're paying
lien,
the
there's
mortgage.
difference. The loans are different. Like, if you have like lien, like they'll do a lien search to see if anybody else has like if it's just like Bank of America or like Provide or like you like one of the major lenders, it's not a big deal. But if like so, like most of the doctors when they buy their building, they owe like some guy a seller's note. They have to square all that shit up before they move forward with you. Because the bank will just they'll do it the same day. Like you know what I mean? Like you could sell your house and have a mortgage on it, but you have to pay the mortgage off at sale.
Oh yeah, okay, okay. I see.
So like if it's like a real lender, we don't have a problem. But if it's like you know Uncle Joe's loan check. Like they do these seller's notes. A lot of doctors they'll just pay a guy like cash, and that guy still technically has an interest in the building. That interest has to be gone before you buy it, or you're gonna have trouble getting the money from the bank. You get what I mean? So it's like these weird, creepy lenders are things you gotta look out for. That's why you always do a lien search. You always ask the doctor if they owe money. Sometimes a brother or a cousin or a friend. It's a very weird industry where like they'll take loans from other doctors. Like I had one where an oral surgeon actually owned the whole complex and was doing a seller's note with everybody in the complex. Like the vet there and like the optometrist and the general dentist all actually didn't own they owned their buildings, but they all owed that guy. He was their bank. Are you following me?
So this orthodontist or this oral surgeon owns a complex of like, let's say 5 units. And these 5 units they're renting from the oral surgeon?
No.
He condoed it out.
No. So what it's called is a seller's note. When you take a mortgage, the mortgage company takes your home. They have your deed. Like you don't have your deed in
Okay.
your house, right? Like you understand that, right? But the oral surgeon has all the deeds.
Okay.
And then after making payments, let's just say for 10 years you're paying $5,000 a month. Then you own the building after, and he
Okay.
gives you the deed.
Okay.
All that debt has to be wiped before you can even sell your building. You can't owe
Okay.
a human being. But that'll show up. It's a real loan. Like they make it with a lawyer. It's a legal thing you can do. You guys can do it. That's something you might do in the future. Do it to your future child.
That could be a good problem to have.
Like you could do that, or you could do it to a family member, or like if you get another orthodontist in there, and like let's say eventually the guys who own your building sell you the building, you can sell the building and basically make it into an annuity for yourself and be the mortgage company and charge. Say, hey, I know interest rates are at 5%. I'll give you a 4% interest loan, and then you get the interest. If you don't need the money right now, why take the lump sum? You can get more money over 10 years. And you still own the fucking building. That's the best part. Is if the guy doesn't pay, you just repossess his property that you already own. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of. That's pretty hard.
So, like, if you're holding someone's mortgage for them, what happens if they fail to pay a mortgage? What happens?
I just repossess the property. Like it's
Yeah,
mine. You can't access it.
that's why people really like doing seller's notes because they're getting money, and then if you mess up, they just get the building back.
Well, they become like their own,
It's
their own
almost like
thing.
it's a rent to own. Is the best way to look at it if you're compartmentalizing it in your brain.
So if the guys that own my building want to sell to me, and they still have,
And let's say you couldn't get a loan. Let's say the bank said you're not profitable enough, which won't
I
happen.
just pay them every single month, like until it's paid off. It's
Yeah, you
drafted,
could
and
either
they're their
pay it
own
off
bank.
sooner, or you have a set thing in there and you pay them, and typically it's at a discount. Or if you're like unlendable, then it's a high interest rate. Like there's some people like I have a doctor. His building was only 300 grand, but he tried to get it right out of dental school, and the practice was $1 million. So even though the building wasn't a lot of money, coming out of dental school, it's already hard enough to buy an office. They're not gonna let you buy the building too. So that's why that stuff matters.
So he can still own the building without having to take out it all through like a third party lender. Just pay the seller directly. That's what a seller's note is. Okay. All these big financial words. Okay. I'm just an orthodontist, Joe.
I know. Yeah, when I said an oral surgeon in the building, you immediately assumed he was an orthodontist. I know how you guys work. It's all
Ugh.
about you.
So, what is a problem during an acquisition that is solvable and where they can still move forward because they really like the practice and everything else checks out?
Sometimes the accounts receivable, they'll say you can buy that and it's not worth as much. You can always adjust it later. Or sometimes they'll say, like, you go to buy it and then you find out, like, one of the associates might leave if they find out that it's selling and they really wanted it. You could just tell them you're going to hire an associate or take on a part-time job. Sometimes there's these hiccups that like it seems like a big deal and it's not. Like I had one where the somebody accidentally leaked that the person was selling the office and everybody walked. Still got the office. We paid half the price and it took 5 extra months because the bank didn't want to approve it, but we bought it as a startup. And like you can normally like most problems you can work around. Even if it was the problem I was saying about with the lien, they just have to pay it off. It's just like it's hard to explain to an old person. Like, think about how hard it was for me to explain to you how the seller's note worked. Like, now explain that to a 77-year-old man
It'll
who
take a
already
minute.
doesn't know how student loans work, who thinks that they're just going to get a shit ton of money for their office, and now they're being told they can't get money because they owe 100 grand to some guy, and they're like, "Oh, well, I'll pay it off after." It's
After
like,
the
no, you got to
sale.
pay it off now. And then the problem is they get scared because they're losing 100 grand, and then what if you don't buy it?
What if the deal doesn't close then? Right. Okay.
Correct.
I
But
got
like
it.
you'll hit a point with the bank where the bank's gonna do this big search and they're gonna find it. They're gonna find that sketchy loan unless it's a handshake deal. They're gonna find it and they're gonna be like, dude, what you gotta get rid of this weird shit. Even if it's 10 grand, they have to pay it off. And I've learned some doctors are just reluctant to
Go
just
the
do
extra step.
them. Yeah.
Can your lawyer do that for you?
No, I mean they just don't want to pay the money. It's not they just have to pay.
Oh, they just don't want to pay
No,
it
not
when
the
they're
buying doctors, like the
the
selling
seller.
doctors don't like they just don't want to pay it off till they get the check. And I've had a couple of cases where the buying doctor actually pays off the debt for the selling doctor
Just
because
to
the
help close
selling
the
doctor
deal.
was that skeptical, and we had to get like a Jay or like a Paul Elias like write up a legal document that said like, hey, like this money, I'm not giving you this money. I'm paying this off for you in advance. You're crediting this to my sale.
Okay.
Like the small ones where people get skeptical. But it's crazy the hill somebody will die on for 10 grand when they're gonna make $1 million off a sale. Um,
Dentists
they
are weird, I
price,
guess.
yeah,
No, that was good. Oh, we recap is like 3 years tax returns, 3 years of profit loss statements, 3 years of profit loss statements with transaction details, and the last one was provider production numbers, which I think
yeah.
relates more to like a lot of general dentists because some, let's say, are implant heavy and they're like really heavy producers, and some are, let's say, just a few years of experience. They're doing more restorative work where maybe the production levels
Well,
aren't
even
nearly as
worth
high.
though, like some people don't want to do braces. Like, would you really want to buy an ortho practice that's all braces if you wanted to do more Invisalign? You know what I mean? It sets the expectation of what you're buying.
So that's a good way to put it because it's like, can you, if you see a prosthodontic office that's doing high end cosmetic stuff and that's the majority of their book of business and you cannot replicate it, that's a tough
Well, and the
business to
bank
buy.
might tell you no, or the bank tells you yes, and you lose all those patients because you can't convert them, or like so a lot of these were fortunate they're like heavy hygiene. But what if there's not a lot of hygiene? That means it's like what if it's transactional, like these implant centers, like they're not always like repeat customers. You know what I mean? Like it's not like the guy who got his implant last week is going to. Like I mean, he might, but it's a referral based practice. It's different.
Right. Got it. No, that was good. I think in the orthodontic world, uh, I think maybe I think there's like three forms of a kind of insurances. There's state funded insurance, there's in network providers, there's out of network providers. And if you there are offices that are extremely profitable in state funded insurances, but if that doctor, wants to do a lot of aesthetic work, super detailed, that takes a little bit more time per patient, it's going to be difficult to replicate the same production as a heavy Medicaid office. Does that sound like a good analogy for you? Does that make sense to the listeners?
Yeah, it makes sense. I think we're asking the listeners like Dora the Explorer for a minute. Does that make sense? Say it makes sense.
Oh, I think Dora the Explorer is a great segue into our next subject: corporate dentistry trends versus private practice trends as of towards what Q4 of 2025 moving
I thought you were
forward.
gonna bring up your stance on immigration or something. I was like, what are we transitioning into?
My God, no one's ever listening to this.
No, but they did that on South Park. Did you
I
see
had
it?
no idea. No, Joe, I have like a real business to run.
It's
Okay,
only
unlike
20
you.
minutes. I actually watched it during work. But yeah, she they captured her and they had her at what's it called, Margot Logo or whatever. It was funny. It's a good South Park's did a very good job at just existing. But yeah, no, corporate dentistry. It everybody thinks it's really bad, and everybody thinks private dentistry is the only way to go. I see corporate dentistry as a few things. One, if you're just trying to work 2, 3 days, it gives you structure. It makes you money. They're not all like churning and burning you. Those are typically the ones in the big city. And even the ones that do that, you can make a lot of money. And you know what you can do with a lot of money? You can open your own office. You can find out what you like and don't like. Like, treat it like a residency. Some schools, big ones like Temple, Maryland, um, LSU has a lot that goes straight to practice. Like, people who don't do residency typically cut their teeth at corporate because that's a place to learn. Now, that's also why, half the cases that come from corporate are shit. But somebody was learning on them. So instead of learning on the homeless and the people in the streets that walk into the GPRs and AGDs, you're learning on the general public, and that's okay. That they went in there; it's their choice to go into a DSO, and you know some DSOs end up taking really good care of you, and you end up being in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, and like they pay you 300-400 grand, and you can eventually own in the office, and it's great. But other times, like it's also just a segue to build up your skills or get you the money. Like half my owners used to be corporate. Sometimes you become the corporate. I call them mini DSOs. Like if you have under 12 locations, you can generally say you're not corporate. But rule of thumb is 6 to 8 locations is the most that a general dentist or a regular doctor um, can keep the quality the same. Because like, how many days a week are you really gonna go between all your offices? And like, sure, it's a dentist or like a dental specialist is running it, but are you quality checking and actually checking in on poor little Jimmy or Minnie, right? Not Minnie Mouse, like Min, like those guys. Like you can only you can only check on people so often. So like, we typically say quality drops after between 6 to 8 offices. So you want to keep below there if you want to say you're not corporate.
I thought it'd be less than that. You know,
No,
that's
I got
tough. It's
guys.
six
It,
to
it,
eight.
it depends on how close they are. Think about it. If all your offices, like I have a guy around here. He is like five, and they're all within 30 minutes of each other.
Okay.
Technically, if he wanted to, he could visit them all every day for 30 minutes. Like, but it just depends on the type of practice you got and like what you're doing, or you know, even you could have a big 30 chair office and still lose quality just because you have too many doctors in there. It's really the doctor to doctor ratio.
Yeah. I was talking to an oral surgeon the other day, and looks like the trend is seems to be in a lot of corporate, even in the oral surgery world. General dentistry corporate has been around for a long time now, probably the longest, been growing. And I think in the past 5, 6 years, orthodontic specific corporate also has really taken off. A lot of doctors that are a little too young to retire um, will sell for like a lot of money, and they have to stay for X number of years or until they just feel like hanging it up. The whole running world trend is they think that everything's going to go to corporate and it's always going to be that way, and it's like the death of the private practice. What are your thoughts? What do you see from the financial standpoint?
What that he thinks it's good. He thinks private practice is gonna die out.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's at a normal level. Corporate dentistry has never gone over 38%. I was actually at the doctor's company, one of the malpractice companies we work with. They had a summit in California, and it's gone as low as 32%. It's gone as high as like 39. We're at like 36% of dentistry's corporate. It's really not that big. You just feel that way because a lot of you are like, if you're in Philadelphia, you feel you're like, I'm surrounded. It's just like, but you're really not. It's just, it looks more apparent because
They're more
there's
well
like 10
known.
of them around you, but there's also a million people in Philadelphia more than like, wherever the fuck Min lives.
They have the deep pockets to like blast out the blast their presence and to be well known.
Well,
Thanks,
like, I
man.
know you don't live in Percival. I can't remember off the top of my head where your little apartment is, but like Percival, how many corporate offices are in that town? Two,
Two
right?
corporate dentistry offices. Yeah.
Yeah, if you talk to someone in like Richmond, there's like 20.
Yeah.
So it's not that like Rick Cavini and all these guys don't want to be out there. It's just if you can only plant like imagine like it's like the army, right? You can only plant like so many things across the country. Their odds are better with numbers because they're gonna fuck up half those people's mouths. They don't want you to notice, so they have to hide. Corporate has to hide in plain sight. It's like reverse psychology. They have to be in all the big areas. They need someone looking at their phone that's not really paying attention, like to just walk in there and get work.
Yes.
You get their teeth drilled to bits. If you're out in the if you're out in Texas in like the outskirts of like Dallas, someone messes up, everybody in your small town knows, and then you're out of business. So they're not going to take. They need more people. So that's why you guys think it's taking over, but it really isn't. It's actually at a medium level right now. It's
Do,
in the middle.
do you think that's going to be it's going to hover there still even for like 10 years from now? You still see it that way?
I think it's going to stay between 32-39%. It's been dropping. If it helps, it was 38 when COVID hit its peak.
When
So
money was cheap to borrow.
no, it wasn't that. It's just people were scared. Who's opening a practice when people are just dying and they're putting their dead bodies on boats and it's not very inspiring to follow the American dream. And now everybody's people are saving up money and inflation. It's like look how small this Coca-Cola is. See, this is $4. It is. Here's my hand for reference.
You have small hands.
And I have small hands, baby hands. See, so you know, it, it's like everything's so expensive now. So
Well, why do you
you
think
know,
the trend this past year was more acquisitions
because people are
versus the
scared to
startup?
take a risk on themselves because things are more expensive. When things are more
Yes.
expensive, people are more entrepreneurial, but they're more willing to. They think that if I buy your business, even if it's shitty, it has cash flow, so it's better than having no cash flow. My argument is you only want to buy businesses that have decent cash flow, because when you buy one that doesn't, you're going to spend the same amount of money as a startup. But a startup, you can take all that extra money, even though you start out at zero. You can pump more money into marketing than a guy who bought an office, and you have a nice new building. So even though the ramp up for the first 3 months is like slower, it really ends up being kind of the same for new patients after 3 months. It takes about 3-4 months for your SEO to like vest.
I think that's where a lot of orthodontic providers specifically kind of like miss that route. You buy a book of business and accounts receivable or contracts receivable, but once that money runs out and all those payments are all done, you still had to hustle the same way
Yeah, it's the
to
same thing.
find new patients that they came for you.
It's just a placebo or understanding. Like, sure, sometimes they have really good referral sources and you inherit those, but most of the time you have to prove yourself to all those people again anyway. Like, you're new.
Right.
So
Well,
my argument's it's always the same. Find an area you want to work, and then if there's a good price to buy, that's great. If not, then open your own. Because that guy who had that officer, somebody at some point opened a startup in that spot. The practice didn't just sprout out of the ground. Like somebody started it, so it's got to work, or that practice wouldn't be there.
that's right.
Not that I'm saying startups are the end all be all. I'm just pickier. I think most of my clients are pickier. I think Like if you're gonna buy someone's practice and then change everything, I think that's stupid. Unless it's like you want that clientele and they're slam packed with like ortho and you just want the clients, that's fine. It's just like it's very rare that that's the scenario. That's like 20% acquisitions. The rest of them are like split between people who are just desperate to buy anything, which is the wrong way, or people who are buying it and they probably could do it slightly better. So like just make sure you're doing valuation, make sure you're getting help. It's good to buy offices. It's just buy them the right way. Don't rush. I feel like people get like rushed into that.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Joe. I think we'll wrap it up.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Dental Dummies.
We will be more awake next time. We're tired. Believe it or not, Min actually has his eyes closed. It's not his resting face. I know for sure because I spent a lot of time with him. We've had a long couple weeks, but we're gonna work on this next week, and we'll be together again soon. We're gonna start pumping out more content. We're excited to for all 30 of our followers and our
Thank
parents
you.
who believe in us. Thanks, mom and dad.
Yep.
Oh,
Believe in a
and
dream.
and Min's mom and dad konnichiwa. Um, like or no. They said, what they said on the cruise to me? They kept going, arigato, arigato. And
Oregato.
but the best part was it was a Japanese restaurant run by fucking Vietnamese people, and he knew I knew he wasn't Japanese, and he kept doing it anyway. And I was like, man, you're committing to your role. He's like, arigato, thank you. And I'm like, no, like just say thank you. You are not Japanese. You don't have to do this anymore. I know. I know, like, it's okay. We're safe here. He wouldn't bring character.
Hey, whatever it takes to give you a wonderful experience, that's how we do it.
I know. Yeah, he was committed. I told him he was actually he doubled down on being Vietnamese by doubling down on service. That's all I knew he was the real deal. That's all I knew he wasn't Japanese. But, I think we'll get some more good content and we got a lot of cool stuff that we're gonna bring out, and just be careful when you're looking at offices. Look at the numbers. Have somebody look at the numbers. There's a lot of good data you can collect, and even I forget what's on the list sometimes. But you need a bunch of shit to look through and to get organized because it is a big decision. You don't want to just buy things to buy.
Yep. Sounds good. Cool. Thank you, everybody. Be sure to like, subscribe if you liked any of our content at all. Stay tuned for another episode. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.